Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and this afternoon we're going to be playing Uh-Oh, It's Magic. I think I already mentioned that in the previous video on puzzle. Now, I admit, I imagine most of you would prefer consistent posts, to be fair, so would I, as opposed to having two on the weekend, but after solving the much more difficult, trying to remember its name now, it was an unusual miracle, I kind of felt for this channel, you guys tend to prefer something that's a little bit more approachable than one that took me about an hour to solve live in front of the camera. And this willpower puzzle probably will be it. So I open my big mouth, I will commit to posting this for today, and fingers crossed I will have some time later today to record something for Sunday morning. Uh-oh, it's magic. Here clearly Sleuth has discovered something that is clearly magical, and it's definitely caught him by surprise given the expression on his face, and it's just a whole bunch of swirling magic all around him and some kind of creature there in the background. Now, when you take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets, you'll understand absolutely the reference to magic, and let's take a look at that today with Uh-Oh, It's Magic by Willpower and the following set of rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column and 3x3 box, so nothing unusual here. Little killers, numbers outside the grid are the sum of the indicated diagonal. So essentially these two cells with the arrow and the 12 next to it have to sum up to 12. So if that cell is 3, for example, this would be 9. These two cells must sum up to 14, these two are 8, etc. And here's where the magic is. It's all about magic squares, and Willpower has featured quite a few of them recently. What I should do is very quickly plug kind of the magic square explanation up here. I don't know if I'm going to... I will probably do a very short 2-minute intro into what magic squares are when I get into it and kind of why you can solve them in a particular way. Then we'll go back to kind of the regular scheduled kind of program, so to speak, with the actual solve. So a magic square is a 3x3 square that all vertical, horizontal, and major diagonals sum to the same number. And the gray circles are the centers of the 3 magic squares. So what that means is that this is the center of a magic square in this 3x3 box, box 5. And it's also clearly saying that the vertical, the horizontal, and the major diagonals all have to sum up to the same value. Not only that, all vertical. So also this column, also this column, also this horizontal, also this horizontal. So essentially, it's like a full mesh here of all of these 3 cells that must sum up to the exact same value across all of them. Up to you, the viewer, to determine how to do so. That's all the rules we have for today. It's clearly all about magic today. As always, for you to play along, link in the description down below. For you to do so, you know what to do. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Right. I really will actually change the timer. I will put something around kind of the magic square and then the rest of the actual solve. Quick, obvious statement. Every square has the digits 1 to 9 once each in it. You sum them all up, it's equal to 45. Essentially, each column, 1, 2, and 3, and the same for rows, etc., must sum up to the same value. So you take 45, you divide it by 3, so you know that each column must sum up to 15. Fundamentally, there is a digit in the middle that you need to place to be able to allow yourself to get 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways of summing up to 15. Now, you can do a little bit of maths, and I do go into it in a bit more detail inside that tutorial that I will remember to leave a link for it up here somewhere in a card. But essentially, the only way you can actually do so is place 5 in the middle. Nothing else will do. And then essentially you need cells around it that sum up to 10 4 different times to get to 15. Second part is each of these columns and rows also have to sum up to 15. And the fact that it's an odd value is actually quite helpful, because you know that to get to 10, you need something like 1, 9. The question is, if I draw this cross and this set of diagonals, is where do the evens and odds go in this? And you know that to get to 10, you need either 2 odds or 2 evens, clearly, with the 5 in the middle. But the same could be said is true for each of these columns and each of these rows. And I have 2 reds and 1 blue. Now, if you make the reds odd, you're in trouble, because 2 odds will make an even, plus the blue being an even, you will get to an even number. You cannot get to 15, which is an odd number. So that's my way of normally remembering that you will need evens in the corner, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and then in essence, odds in essentially kind of like the cross in the middle. And I'll just quickly do that across all of them. So 1, 9, 3, 7, and then 2, 4, 6, 8. Right, that's essentially all of the information that we're given before we actually get to the solve. So I'll try and put a marker kind of now for the actual commencement of the solve. 2 cells that sum up to 12. I think that's fairly obvious. That can only be 3 and 9. So that's not 1, 7. These are as therefore not 3, 9. 2 cells that sum up to 8. We've almost got like kind of a rotational symmetry going on, sort of. We'll explore that in a bit. That cannot be anything other than 1, 7. And therefore these are the 3 9s. Now we can also probably make some deductions about these corners, if I think about it enough. And the way to think about it is, what can the 9 go with? Because essentially, the 9 will have to have 2 even digits next to it that will also allow it to sum up to 15. And obviously the 9 would need 6 next to it to get 15, which is 2 and 4. And the 3 will need 12, which is 8 and 4. So that has to be a 4. That's the only common digit between the 3 and 9. So that's 4. To get to 15, that's got to be 6. The side that has the 9 in it will have to be a 2, and the side that has a 3 in it will have to be an 8. I mean, not that I needed to do that, obviously, because I've already added the 4 and 6, so that would have allowed me to get to 2, 8 anyway. I'm thinking same kind of logic applies here. So the 1, 7 needs the 6 next to it. This is the 4. These are 2 and 8. How did I mess this up both times? No, that was correct the first time around. Never mind. Right, and then we're probably being given the rest of these diagonals for a reason. For example, the 14, 2 ways of getting to 14 in 2 cells is either 5, 9 or 6, 8. And this is not 5, 9 because neither cell can be a 5. So this is definitely 6, 8. And that's very helpful because that 6 gives me an 8, gives me a 6, which is actually not enough information to plug in the rest. Never mind. This is 7, 1, 2, and 4. This is clearly not the 4. 9, I think, now is forced because it's not 1, 8, not 2, 7, not 4, 5. This can only be 3, 6, and that 6 will actually force the rest. That's 3, that's 6. That 3 gives me what I need. That's the 9, that's the 3. That has to be the 2, that has to be the 8, and then we basically got the rest of this magic square. I don't think I can say the same for this one yet. Oh, yes, I can. 8 gave me the 2, which forces the 9. Forces the 3, forces the 8, forces the 1 and the 7. The 1 doesn't do anything. The 2 does. That's 1. This is 2, 4. And that 2 allows me to resolve this little killer clue as well. Fantastic. Right. Where do we go from here? 16 doesn't feel very usefully. Actually, 15 surprisingly does. I've got 12 already on these, and then 2 more cells that need to add up to 3. That can only be 1 and 2. 1 in here because of this 2, and 2 in here because of this 1. No 2s. Opposite the 2 to get to 10 has to be the 8, so I can remove the 8s. So there's an 8 essentially in here. 8. Then 8 and 1 of 2. Actually, the 25 is probably what I'm meant to look at. Yeah, 8's 8 and then 25. So these two cells have to be 17. That can't be the 8. That's the 9. That's the 8. Only two ways to get to it. And then obviously that 8 is the same as that rotational symmetry, and it removes the 8s from here. The 9 and the 1, I kind of missed those for some reason. And then we're kind of on to more little killer clues. 16, I'm not feeling very hopeful about. 21, I'll be honest, I'm not feeling too hopeful about. Maybe some Sudoku to make this easier first. What are these, for example? I need a 2, a 5, and a 7. This is 5 or 7. Not brilliant. A 2 on a 21 is starting to look implausible, but possible. No 9s, no 9s. Come on, Sleuth, that was much more obvious. So there's a 9 in here. There's another 5, 7 plus an 8. Interesting. 7, 8, 5, 8. Because of these 5s and 7s. Not enough to actually complete the box. And I have a lot more information in box 7 compared to box 3 because the 7 diagonal was actually quite useful. In here I have another 5, 7 plus a 9, and it doesn't feel like there's enough info to actually sort of do much with it. I'm going to take a look at these little killers first. Maybe some Sudoku first to see if that would make it easier. Let's think about the 16. So 16, once the 6 and 8 is kind of gone, the most obvious way to do it in my mind is 4, 5, and 7. Because, I just remember 4, 5, 6 adds to 15. I need one more essentially to get to 16, so the 6 goes to 7. But I still have a 9, which is frustrating, but at least the 9 is restricted to this cell. So if that's a 9, these two cells have to add up to 7. And then 1, 6 isn't available. 2, 5 looks like it is. And then 3, 4 isn't because of this cell can be neither. So if this uses 9, it has to be 9, 2, 5 exactly this way. And if it is 4, 5, 7, feels like I have, 5 and 7 can't be this cell, so that would be the 4. Excuse me, that can't be a 7, so that would be the 7, and that would be the 5. And that's fully pencil marked diagonal. There's definitely a 5 in it. So essentially there is 5 plus 2 cells that add up to 11, which is 7 and 4, or 2 and 9. Not very helpful. And I don't know if I'm sort of trying to solve this a little bit too early. Well, I'm committed anyway. 8s. Oh, I've already got an 8, that's why. For a second I was thinking, oh, hang on, I'm broke at 1s. That is more useful, that's a 1. And then the other cell that I haven't placed yet, the other digit, is a 3, which unfortunately is still in one of two places. And then joining the 3 and the remaining 2 cells is another 2 cells that add up to 11, which is either the 7, 4 or the 2, 9. Now what's interesting actually is this cell cannot be 2, 9 or 4, 7. So that's always the 3. And then I'm left with the 2, 9 or 4, 7 in here, in this row. Yeah, there's still too many options. Has it given me enough info? I feel like it hasn't really. To kind of make progress. So what about column 9? I need another 5, 9 plus a 4. These are not very useful. These are not very useful at all. And a 9 in here. Right, 21. Let's see if this is more useful. So 21 across 5 cells. I need an average. Actually, I haven't even thought about the 24. So, okay, so there's a bunch of other diagonals to look at. Let's try the 21 first. Since I've started this way. This is 5, 9, or 7. I feel like 9 will make this very difficult, given how high this digit has to be already. This is 2, 5, or 7. We know that. Am I missing some obvious Sudoku? I don't think so. These 3 cells are known. They are 1, 4, 8. Not an 8. I am going to fully pencil mark all the options and then kind of think about what numbers shake out of the 21, so to speak. In here, I have a reasonably high digit already. It's got to be 4, 6, 7, or 8. Now remember, I'm shooting for an average of 4. And aside from the 2 and the 4 in here, hang on, the 1 and the 2, all the remaining digits are actually quite high. So even if I go for 4, 5, and 5, which is the absolute minimum I can get from these 3 cells, I am already at 14, meaning these 2 cells cannot be any more than 7, which I think would eliminate comfortably the 7 in here. Did I do my maths right? I'm fairly sure 4, 5, 5 is 14, 21 is another 7, therefore that can't be 7. Fairly obvious that much. Now, I think at the same time, even if I minimize these, 4, 5, 1, and 2, I feel like the 9 is just asking for trouble. But let's just double check. That's 5, that's 10, that's 12. The 9 fits. Annoyingly. Actually, these now are pencil marked on the 24. So the 24, we have 5 cells. It's a bigger average of 5, right? These 4, because I already got a 4. So these 4 cells need to add up to 20. So that is exactly 5. And this cell feels like it's already reasonably large with 4, 5, and 9. In fact, it's not a 5. This cell can actually be quite low. I'm kind of wondering if the easier way to do this is to think about these as 45, 21, and 24, and to consider the amount of pressure that they have between some of the common digits. That's kind of fundamentally what I'm thinking now. For example, if this is a 9, if you remember, it forced me to minimize all of these. But then at the same time, I won't have the 1 in here anymore. So it'd be 9 and 4. I'm already at 13, and then these 2 cells have to get to 7, which it actually can. That is frustrating. I must be missing something easier than what I'm doing here. This is 4 or 5 in there. Can't be 9. I'm not sure what I'm missing, actually. 5, 7, 8. Yeah, I kind of looked at all the little killers that are left, and I don't think I'm missing any obvious Sudoku. And here is 1, 5, 7. Not brilliant. I'm going to have to try and squeeze something out of this 21 and 24. I don't want to pencil mark this cell because it'll be ludicrous. It's 2, 3, 4, 6. No, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. That is a silly number of pencil marks. In here, there's a 3 and 6, and then a 5 or 7. Right, the 21 feels like the closest to breaking. So let's give this one a go. If this is 5, 5, 4, that's 14. It's not 5, sleuth, it's 2. Dear oh dear. We're just going to overlook what happened there. Like I said, be kind in the comments. So 19 now, that is a little bit harder to a little bit easier to wrap my mind around. 4 and 5 is 9. 1 and 9 is... Okay. Maybe I can start to eliminate other options. Like, for example, what happens if this is 8? And I have 11 between these cells, which I cannot get to. So I'm just having a think about that. So if it's a 4, I have to get to 7, which I can't. If it's a 6, I have to get to 5, which I can't. So that can't be 8. That is 5. That is 7. That is 5. And that is 8. And this is not 8. This is 4, 6, or 7. Right, so that's 7, meaning these 3 clues have to get to 14 now. Let's keep trying to eliminate options. If that's 7, this needs to get to 7, which I'm pretty sure I can't. I've just had that discussion. If that is 6, that would need to get to 8, which I can. And if this is 4, this needs to get to 10, which I can. So 4 and 6 works. What about in here? If this is 1, I need to get to 13, so it's 9 and 4. If it's 4, I need to get to 10, which I can't. So this is definitely 1. And therefore, I need to get to 10. And the only way to do that is, 13 is 4 and 9. And then 5. 10, 19, 21. Looks okay to me now. Right. 13, meaning these 3 cells have to get to 12. And if I have this as an 8, these would have to get to 4, which can only be 1 and 3, so that can't be 8. That is 4. That is 8. That removes a 4 from here. That removes its opposite, which would be a 6 from there. That can't be 1, therefore this can't be 9. So I'm just going to use this opportunity to tidy up. 6 and 8 can only have a 1 between them. The opposite has to be a 9. Not 9, not 1. 9 in here gave me a 4 there, and then a 5 here, and then a 9 there. Remember, these 2 needed to add up to whatever it was. I mean, the 9 forced everything else. I think it was 2 and 5. Yeah, 2 and 5. And the 24, I've got 16. Sorry, I've got 12. I was panicking there for a second. 21, and then 3. 12 and 12, yeah, 24. 7, 3. 3 needed to be between, I'm going to say 4. It can't be 2, otherwise this would have to be 10. So that's 4, that's 2. That is 9, that has to be 6, that is 8. And I think we're just left with Sudoku now. I imagine this was the hard way of going about doing this, by the way. There must be something that was a little bit easier for me to spot that I didn't. Let me know in the comments if you had an easier time than what I've demonstrated here. I need 6 and 7. Don't know what these are. I need 7 and 8. That's 8, that's 7, that's 6 and 7. Need a 1. Need a 3. Need an 8. This is just placed. 6, 2, 8. No, 9. You know, thank God for checking, the number of things I would have just made my life a lot harder by just not spotting very obvious Sudoku. I don't know where the 3 is, and then the 5? 5. 3. That means 3, 7, 6. I need 4, 6, and 9. There you go. That's the solve for today's puzzle. Well, this afternoon's puzzle. There's already been a puzzle today. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle in the video. And yeah, genuinely interested in your comments around how did I make these 2 diagonals so much harder than it probably was. Admittedly, not seeing that 5 for a while probably didn't help, but aside from that, it may have been a more kind of an easier path. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle in the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.